alaikum, everybody. We're back, and you're listening to Deen Talk. And if you're just turning in, I have Hamza, Amani, Fatima, and Harun all here in the studio, and we're going to jump right back into it because time seems to go fast when we're on the show, right? But you said something that I wanted to jump on was you said you gave a formula for success. It was like trust in Allah, stay cool, calm, and collective, and things like that. I'm gonna let you get the last word on this. So this segment of the show, I want to hear from each and every one of you what you feel your faith tradition says about truth, justice, racism, any of these things. What do you feel like your religion brings to the table, and how has it been helping you cope with this stuff? So who wants to start? All right,
I can.
Let's start with Amani.
For me, how I perceive of how, as a Muslim, I'm supposed to either, I don't know, like vocalize who I am and vocalize standpoints that I have on certain situations.
You feel like you're supposed to.
I feel like I'm supposed to, in a way. I feel like as a Muslim, you're supposed to not only be the best Muslim you can, but be the best person in a way of helping others and showing others. And I feel the best way is through actions, not through words. Just day-to-day stuff you do, whether it's just making sure that you clean up the table after you leave lunch, or just like certain things.
Well, I was going to ask you that because some of our listeners may not know when you say be the best Muslim that you could be. What is that? Is that like be the best basketball player you could be? And then you start describing things like clean up tables and things like that. So in your mind, what does it mean to be the best Muslim you can be?
I feel like the best Muslim not only does required things, as in making sure you're praying, because I feel like some people think the best Muslim is someone who prays 5 times a day, someone who has a whole Quran memorized. I feel like the best Muslim is someone who is kind, who is considerate, and who is helpful to others.
You mean those things when you say be the best you can be?
Yes.
You want to be the kindest person,
Yes.
the most helpful person?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the Prophet ﷺ was not only, before he became a Muslim, he was one of the kindest, most generous, most honest people in Mecca. And so just those traits really stick out to people. And when they see that, and then when they see you are a Muslim, it's not like, wow, oh, she's only doing this because she's Muslim. It's more of like, wow, this is a Muslim who is kind and considerate. And so anything that I see on the news or in the newspaper or anything about Muslims isn't true because I see this person being polite.
Okay, I can feel that. Let's get somebody else. Let's go to the left side here. Who wants to start? Either Fatima or Harun. What do you feel like your religion, your faith says about truth, justice, and doing what's right? And how does that, first tell me that, and then how does that help you deal with what's going on in this climate now in America?
Well, for me, I think that my religion teaches me that education is one of the most important things ever, and so is justice. It taught me that I need to stand up for any kind of form of injustice, whether it's for someone who's not Muslim or Muslim. And I think that really helps me because I'm not Allah, so I wouldn't know why somebody's doing something or what they're actually going to do, what their intentions are. So I always take a step back and think about what could happen and why they're doing it. I know that I'm not the most perfect person. I know they're not the most perfect person. So I try and think about everything and also remember.
You mentioned 2 things there. I want you to just highlight them a little bit. So you're saying that you feel like your religion teaches you tolerance because you're not God,
Absolutely.
nobody's God, so you don't know what people's intentions are. And I think you also said that you also have faults. So these really sound like some things that coincide with people of other faiths. Does that teach you tolerance, and how does tolerance help you at school?
Tolerance helps me at school because our school is very diverse, and I always remember that Prophet Muhammad lived in an area where it was polytheistic, and so it would be very enraging for him to have to see people worship 32 gods a day where he only worships one, and he was very tolerant, so I should follow in the Prophet's example and also be very tolerant.
Okay, all right. Hamza?
Yeah, so
Same question. We're talking about truth, justice, racism. What does Islam tell you about that? That's the first question. And then the second question is, how is it helping you well, we already kind of heard from you how it's kind of helping you, but if there's anything else you want to add.
So I know everyone's touched on a lot of good things, and I feel that Islam teaches us to be the best person that we can be, as Amani said. and that we need to show that we are patient, that we have these virtues. But one thing that
You know what? I'm gonna push back a little bit. Hope my audience can be patient with me. A lot of people say, you know, you have to be patient, you know, be cool, and sometimes it means you're gonna get run over. People are gonna be like yelling at you in your face and taking your rights away from you and doing stuff to you, and you have to be like, oh, I can't do anything. I have to be patient. So, what does patience look like to you when you say you have to be patient? What does that look like?
So I think what you have to do is assess the situation. So like in the long term, how will this affect you as a person and affect the other person? So it's kind of like
affect you and affect the other person.
yeah, because you want the other person to always also like end up in a good place. So I think that's what Islam also teaches us. Like you have to have humility.
That's not so easy. Like in the middle of, let me see, how's this punch gonna affect me? How can it affect you? I mean, that's like a split-second decision for when people are getting yelled at. Are there any pointers you have for that? Like, how do you? And you want to add something?
I do.
Okay, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna see what Harun says, then we'll come back to you.
All right, so like if you're in that type of situation, then you have to see what's going on around you. I feel like if someone like you don't know how the other person is feeling, as she said, the intentions. So they might be going through something that you don't know about, and that again, patience is really important. So if someone's about to punch you, you should just kind of move away and say, I don't want to do this.
Wow, this guy on another level. Assess the situation. If somebody
Mashallah.
punches, you move away with left block. We're gonna co- So Harun, same question. What is your faith telling you about racism, justice, respecting the other? What do you think Islam says about that? I don't know how much time we have left in this segment. We're gonna talk to you and then see what Amani had to say.
Well, I think Islam teaches that everyone is equal. Everyone will be judged the same, and it's not race. It's not anything, and that like to be a good Muslim, you have to like do as you can to like please Allah in all aspects as possible.
Now, some people are gonna say, yeah, do what you can to please Allah, and you Muslims, y'all gotta kill people and blow stuff up to please Allah.
Well, that's
You
just
say
not
that?
true. I would just be like, what are you talking about?
I can't hear you. What?
I would say like, well, as Hamza said, I'd ask for proof and be like, where did you ever hear that? Because of people like
It's all over television, man. I heard it myself. I don't know why I'm talking in a high voice right now, but that's how I do when I get it. It's all over the media.
well, you can't always trust everything you see on TV. And as you cannot judge people for the actions of some. So you just
Yeah, you have to ask them to pull all those receipts. You have to think about why are there
Did you
so
say
many?
pull all those receipts?
Yeah, all the receipts. Like all the receipts. Like Islam is one of the fastest growing religions in the world. How come you have to think about like how is it the fastest growing religion in the world if it's so terrible? That's what I see on TV. You have to educate yourself.
Okay. Did you forget what you wanted to say, or you?
I remember.
Okay.
And it's really quick, but patience, I feel like patience is different than not speaking up. I feel like in the Quran, Allah says, this earth for the believers is going to be a hell on earth, and for the people who are disbelievers, it'll be a heaven on earth. And so Allah says that Muslims are going to be going through a lot of struggles, and some people might think like, oh, this one, the struggles, we just need to sit back and just watch what happens because Allah said this was going to happen.
Just another test.
Exactly.
Just wait it out.
But that doesn't mean you don't speak up for yourself. So I feel like speak up for yourself in certain situations if you feel attacked or if you feel like this isn't right. Like it's never a reason not to voice your opinion, but you also have to make sure that you're not doing anything in a way that could perceive Muslims. Like people have a certain view of Muslims, and you have to make sure how you word stuff and how you say certain things aren't going to lead to something else that they might think.
So patience is not equivalent to not speaking up. That's an important lesson. And I think one of the main things that I got out of talking with these esteemed guests of Harun and Fatima and Hamza and Amani is the need for us to start teaching the next generation how to communicate. Because if we wait, then people they're 50 years old, 60 years old, and they don't know how to talk. So it's just hate going at each other. And I hate you because you voted for Trump, and I hate you because you voted for Hillary, and I hate you because you're Republican or because you're Democrat. And nobody really comes and says, hey, Tell me more about you being democratic. You have to practice that, right? You got to practice that. And so maybe that's something that we've pulled out of here for the rest of the world here on Deen Talk, is we need to learn how to talk to one another, all right? So we're going to talk more. The show's not over. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. You're watching Deen Talk. See you soon.